The dark side of Deion Sanders isn't just a rumor. It's a complex story that stretches from the NFL draft shockwaves around his son Shedeur to his headline-grabbing coaching career. The 2025 NFL Draft stunned fans and analysts alike when Deion Sanders, a record-setting quarterback at Colorado and a projected first-round pick, dropped to the 5th round. Industry insiders pointed to a mix of factors: concerns about Deion Sanders' influence, Shedeur's absence from combine drills, and mixed reviews from team interviews. Some executives questioned whether the pre-draft process and public attention had overshadowed Shedeur's talent. But this draft moment is just one piece of a much larger picture. Deion Sanders led Jackson State to 2 SWAC titles and helped generate millions in economic impact, then sparked a 51% jump in Colorado's multimedia rights value and produced a Heisman Trophy winning player. Wherever Deion Sanders goes, controversy follows, and so does the debate around what makes him so polarizing. This is the story of Coach Prime's rise as the most polarizing figure in college football, and how his bold style is stirring controversy and sparking a larger debate about the future of the sport and the leadership within it. Before 2020, Jackson State's football program was a forgotten corner of college sports. An 18-37 record over 5 years, minimal funding, and scarce fanfare. Deion Sanders arrived with a Hall of Fame pedigree but no college coaching resume. Experts doubted he could build a winner at an HBCU that had long been overlooked. Right away, Sanders flipped the script. He brought old school discipline, insisting on black socks during practice, a strict dress code, no tolerance for tardiness, and phone-free meetings. His style clipped softly against their tradition but came with a sharp edge. The recruiting coup was seismic. In December 2021, Sanders flipped Travis Hunter, ESPN's #2 recruit and the first 5-star player ever to commit to an HBCU, snatching him from Florida State's powerhouse program. That single move rocked college football to its core and put Jackson State firmly on the map. His son Shedeur and a flood of other high-profile transfers quickly followed, turning the team from overlooked to absolutely stacked. The wins came fast too, 11-2 in year 2 and a SWAC championship. Then 12-1 and repeating that feat 1 year later. The Eddie Robinson Award for the best FCS coach was a fitting crown. But victories were just the start. Sanders shattered exposure barriers. He hosted a pro day that lured scouts from 22 NFL teams and the CFL. ESPN broadcast the HBCU spring game live for the first time ever. Suddenly, Jackson State was a national story. And the financial impact? He turned $7.2 million in home game revenue into $16.2 million the next year. The SWAC title game pulled in $8 million itself. Regional economic impact topped $185 million. Deion preached bigger than football: player development, community uplift, opportunity. Still, controversy tag-along started early. Critics said Sanders built hype only to jump ship after 3 seasons. The heavy transfer portal usage rubbed traditionalists the wrong way. Yet, whatever your view on his methods, Sanders redefined what's possible for HBCUs and the recruiting reach. Sanders' next move would elevate these controversies to a whole other level. Colorado football was struggling hard before Deion Sanders arrived in December 2022. Fresh off a 1-11 season, the program was struggling to find identity and respect. Sanders wasn't just hired to win games. He was brought in to rebuild culture and re-energize the entire program. He wasted no time shaking things up. His message to players was blunt and clear. If you didn't buy into the new standards, consider transferring. That led to a massive roster overhaul. 86 new players joined through the transfer portal. It was the biggest shakeup any FBS program had seen since the portal started in 2018. The reshuffle got criticism for being too fast and breaking traditional loyalty models. But Sanders believed bold moves were necessary to compete in today's fast-changing college football world. With new discipline and professionalism came tough policies. Strict dress codes, sideline behavior rules, mandatory meetings, and no phones during sessions shaped a culture Sanders demanded. Some saw it as rigid, others as exactly what Colorado needed. The payoff was immediate and visible. For the first time ever, Colorado sold out home games. Merchandise sales skyrocketed by 900%, and multimedia rights revenue jumped 51%. Donations surged past $29 million. The program went from being an afterthought to national news, drawing celebrities and heavy media buzz. On the field, Colorado started strong. The Buffaloes shocked everyone with a win over TCU, who had lost in the national championship the previous year. Travis Hunter, the superstar transfer Sanders brought from Jackson State, shone brightly, setting the tone for what was to come. But Colorado's 2023 season was a roller coaster. After early promise, 6 consecutive losses dropped them to a 4-8 finish. Depth issues from the rapid roster rebuild exposed cracks Sanders' approach couldn't yet fix. But the 2024 season told a different story. Under Sanders' leadership, Colorado took major steps forward. The team improved its consistency and showed real fight in tougher games. The culture he demanded settled in, and the program looked like it belonged at the Power 5 level again. One of the brightest spots was Travis Hunter, whose talent and impact earned him college football's highest honor, the Heisman Trophy. Hunter's rise from transfer to the nation's best player was a testament to Sanders' vision of recruiting elite talent and building a contender. Between culture overhaul, financial gains, on-field wins, and producing a Heisman winner, Sanders' Colorado era became a true turnaround story. The journey isn't complete, but the direction was clear. Colorado was back, and Coach Prime led that charge. At the time, no one could have predicted that all the noise Sanders stirred up at Colorado in 2024 would set the stage for the biggest controversy of his career just months after the season ended. Shedeur Sanders came into the 2025 NFL Draft with serious buzz. His college stats were off the charts. A 74% completion rate, 64 touchdowns to 13 interceptions, calm and accurate in big moments. He looked like a top prospect, projected in most mocks as an early pick on day 1 or at the latest in day 2. But the draft didn't go as expected. Shedeur slid to the 5th round, where the Cleveland Browns grabbed him with pick 144. The drop stunned fans and analysts alike. It was by far the biggest story coming out of the 2025 NFL Draft. But what happened? Much of the talk centered around what teams called the Deion factor. Deion Sanders' celebrity and outspoken nature made some NFL executive hesitant. The worry, drafting Shedeur meant dealing with an unavoidable media spectacle and distractions that could disrupt team focus. Shedeur's draft process only fueled these concerns. He skipped the NFL combine drills, so scouts never got to see him compete directly with other QBs on things like arm strength and speed. That raised flags about his physical tools, even though his game tape was strong. Reports also said Shedeur sandbagged and downplayed interviews with teams he wasn't interested in. That came across to some as lacking professionalism or humility, a giant red flag in a league that values coaches and players who are fully invested and respectful in every interaction. Another unusual factor. Shedeur had no traditional NFL agent. His father Deion in a small circle handled all communications. While players sometimes self-represent, it's rare for a QB with his profile. Front offices worried this lack of experienced representation led to miscommunications, hurting trust and confidence. As teams prioritized low-risk, high-certainty prospects, Shedeur's camp unsettled many decision-makers. The Browns GM Andrew Berry calling him a value pick was telling. It meant they saw potential but also accepted the gamble. Deion Sanders shouldered the fallout publicly. He said, quote, "The devil is working, but I'll take that hit for my sons." That showed how personal and public the scrutiny became. This draft saga was rare, an example of how a parent's larger-than-life reputation can tangibly affect a player's career path, especially for quarterbacks, where leadership image and locker room fit weigh heavily. The league's resistance to uncertainty and spectacle worked against Shedeur. It raises bigger questions. How much room is there in professional sports for players who don't fit the established mold? How far do expectations about humility, professionalism, and image really shape opportunity? The Sanders family's experience is a vivid case study of these forces in action. Was Shedeur Sanders' fall due solely to Deion's presence in the process, or a combination of all the other factors? Deion Sanders isn't just a coach or media personality. He's a symbol exposing deep tensions in sports leadership culture. For decades, coaches were lauded for humility, patience, and blending into institutions. Leaders were quiet pillars, putting the program first. Deion smashed that mold. Loud, confident, brash, openly ambitious. He challenges the notion that leadership has to fit in one quiet, reserved script. That contrast brings cultural biases and traditions into sharp focus. Sanders refuses silence. He owns his identity and ambition in front of millions. He embodies modern sports leadership shaped by social media, athlete branding, nonstop visibility, and personality-driven narratives. The pushback says more about the tradition resisting change than him. He forces fans in college football itself to ask, who deserves to lead? On what terms? Sanders stands at the nexus of tradition and change, spotlighting a future where leadership looks very different. The question is whether sports culture will admit that future or cling to the past. If you ask me, Deion Sanders is redefining the blueprint for the modern college football coach. In the age of NIL and social media, attention is currency, and no one prints it like Prime. But it's not just smoke and mirrors. Yes, he commands headlines, but he also delivers results. At Jackson State and now Colorado, he's flipped programs fast, proving his skills go far beyond hype and sound bites. And let's not ignore the bottom line. Deion's presence has driven massive financial gains for the schools he's coached. Ticket sales, merchandise, media coverage, you name it. He's moved the needle. He's not just building teams, he's building brands. Like it or not, Coach Prime is the prototype for where college football is headed. Deion Sanders has rewritten leadership in college sports. From igniting championship runs and massive revenue at Jackson State, to crafting a national brand at Colorado, and impacting his son's draft journey, Sanders challenges old templates. The debate surrounding Coach Prime isn't just about wins and losses. It's about who gets to lead, how, and with what personality. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more deep dives into football's biggest stories. We release a new documentary every single week. And stick around for our video on Urban Meyer's tumultuous 13-game stint in Jacksonville, another polarizing coach whose tenure shook the football world. All you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.